What up? What up? What up? Defense attorneys for Delphi suspect Richard Allen are requesting additional public funds to pay for experts and court expenses. What is up, everybody? Go ahead and get this article up on the screen for you. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday, TGIF. What's up, D? Gretchen, hello. Wow, sell your home. So you guys already convinced? I mean, how sure can we be that he's the bridge guy? Gretchen, Susan, Dog Lover, Tattoo, Ryan, Jessica, Sharon, Gloria. Good to see you guys. So the image that you've seen on the screen there, so those are images. I actually took a photo of an unspent shell that I had in some of my range ammo. You know, I just keep that laying around whenever I go to the range, or, you know, if I want to go find a place to go shooting. And then I actually cycled around for from my actual sidearm that I carry daily. Um, it was the first time it had ever been cycled, and those are the markings that it left there. So you can kind of see what they're putting under the microscope. And they're trying to get the machine marks that are going to be specific to that handgun. This article is titled Delphi Suspects Lawyers Request Public Funds to Pay for Defense. That came out this morning, and it is through Fox 59. What's up, Big Bird? Well, I'm just real curious to see how the prosecutor is going to try to bring in a second suspect into the timeline or into the story. I'm very curious because we recently, and we'll go over this a little bit, but Gray Hughes interviewed Brad Heath. And Brad Heath is telling us, "Hey, I didn't see any of those vehicles there. I didn't even notice a vehicle that was parked, even near or backed into the CPS building. The vehicle I saw was 2 feet from the off the road between the CPS building and the entrance to the Freedom Bridge." He didn't give a description of the vehicle. I don't know why he didn't do that. Maybe for reasons, or maybe Gray didn't want to put that out there. But he said it was there from 9 a.m. So there's a huge part of this timeline that we don't know. And the attempted kidnapping and the strategic positioning they were in alignment with the private drive. Like, I mean, it all seems like a squeeze point right there on the south end of the bridge. Hey, Indy. How's everybody doing? Good for you, D. Keep it clean. I just cleaned mine. So I'm a little lightheaded right now. Good to see you, Tattoo, Grunge, Anna, Randy. Hey, Copper. Willow. Yeah, sorry, guys. I'm still a little stuffy. Richard Allen basically admitted he was bridge guy by confirming he was wearing the same clothes and was on the bridge. Yeah, that seems to be the stronger part of the case. You know, witnesses saying, hey, that's him. That's what he was wearing. Then another witness saying, hey, the guy that I seen or that I saw was wearing the exact same thing. Tom with the super chat. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everyone is having a great day. I think it's just typical fashion of this case to keep us guessing. Yeah, what a very strange case this is. Randy says they got the right guy. I was a bail bondsman for some years, have sat on tons of court cases. I've seen convictions on way less evidence. Yeah, we're going to listen to an expert today. I actually emailed him and tried to get him to come on to today's podcast, but I didn't get a response. But I may not have gone through the right channel. We'll see. But he seems very knowledgeable. It was two mainstream media. I think maybe one of them might have been local media. Put out a clip. They interviewed him, and he goes into really good detail on the ballistic forensics that they plan to use against Richard Allen. From his perspective, I mean, he's saying it's very similar to a thumbprint or a fingerprint. It's basically your firearm's fingerprint. You know, when you get down to the microscopic level, and you start working with machine marks, because every gun's not going to come out. Um, they don't carve your pieces out of metal. I guess sometimes they do through laser, but a lot of times it's molding too, and it's not going to be the same every time. Because even when you're cutting metal with laser, they're cutting it from different chunks of metal, different pieces of metal that might not be the same. And we're going to look at that as well. Frank says, I did a test with my 40 cal. I got the same result with the striation marks on the casing. So yeah, you're going to get similar markings, kind of like this image here. So if you were to take, I would say, the same firearm and cycle your bullet through there as well, you're probably going to get very similar markings to these. But when you put it under the microscope, every time you cycle around through each individual gun, you're going to see that they are identical, and specific to each firearm. But we're going to begin with this here. Defense attorneys for Delphi suspect Richard Allen are requesting additional public funds to pay for experts and court expenses. So they need to challenge this science, and they plan to do that. And regardless of this evidence, I mean, things that they found at the search are going to trump this in comparison, right? Or no. Allen, who's accused of killing Abby Williams and Libby German February 2017, is being defended by a pair of court-appointed attorneys, Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie. In court documents filed Thursday in Carroll County, Allen's attorneys asserted their client can't afford the cost of representation and associated expenses. So they're going to need experts. They're going to need to run their own tests. That takes time and money. Allen had initially indicated that he would hire private counsel before requesting a public defender in a handwritten letter in which he begged for the mercy of the court. Yeah, Tom's pretty awesome. Ryan says, being the only male known on the trail and bridge, he was short and with the same clothes, and on the picture Libby took, all but slams the door shut, in my opinion. You think? Here, let's take a look at that, and we'll come back to this article. I mean, it's going to be real hard to say, hey, look, that's Richard Allen. I mean, I believe it is, in my honest opinion. Grunge Truck says, The defense has to sound positive about their case, but I think this threw off some people. Yeah, I agree. Hey, what's up, Eminem? Thanks for the emails. I appreciate that. Hey, Regis. If there's a connection between Rick Allen and the Kleins, then I sincerely hope that the authorities are fully aware of everything. I think there still is. I think there is a connection. What that is, I think we'll find out when the proceedings begin, when they start releasing information and going over it in the courtroom. Hey, Glenjamin. Yeah, Randy. I mean, I guess you could argue those strange things, but I mean, what are the odds of something like that? It's just not likely that you're there that day and that the bullet's going to be right there in between the two victims. And somebody also matching your description was seen in the area where the person would be fleeing. If you just committed this murder and you parked over here at the CPS building, this is where you should be seen. In the spot where he should have been seen and located, he was also covered in mud and blood. So I don't know. Did he kill the girls? Did he help move the bodies? Is that why he's covered in mud and blood? And maybe somebody took his weapon away. Maybe the killer took his weapon away, took the magazine out, kept the magazine, and discharged that round. You know, maybe whoever was with Richard Allen took it too far. Ooh, Tom with the super chat. Thank you again, Tom. Let's take a look. Truly think they have had the Richard Allen zeroed in for a long time. The new video of Howdy does an amazing job breaking it down. Yeah, that was a great video. Um, and the video that Gray Hughes did with Brad Heath is also amazing. I recommend everybody to go check that out. I mean, this information, it's like this case is forever evolving and changing. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen in true crime. Let's get back to that article. I just wanted to go over that. It's not that convincing. I mean, that's as clear as I could ever get that video, or as clear as I've ever seen. And there's only a few frames where you can actually see Richard Allen. And his elongated nose right here. Tip of his nose kind of comes down like a spike. Here, I think I got a clip of that. So this is the one that looks like Richard Allen to me. It's okay. But yeah, it was just amazing to hear Brad Heath say, "Hey, man, I saw a different vehicle," and he even confronted law enforcement about the whole timeline from 12 to 5. He's like, "Why are you guys going around talking about 12 to 5? That's not the information that I provided you." Unless, well, I hate to say it, but Some of these witnesses could be misleading law enforcement, I think. That'd be very strange. But I think it changes everything. I think that helps with the others involved case. And why would you be parked right there? And why did others not notice? And why did Brad Heath not notice the vehicle backed in at the CPS building? Was he too busy paying attention to that vehicle? Yeah, but I mean, he was very clear. Gray asked him, the right questions, got clarification. He said, told us exactly where the vehicle was. We didn't really get a description of the vehicle, so who knows? Yeah, hit that like button. It helps out with the algorithms and whatnot. So I'd appreciate it. Dog Lover says the defense will say he was set up and someone planted the unspent bullet. Well, I mean, the narrative that's what it sounds like. Sounds like it's right from a Hollywood script. Just like defense lawyers usually do by claiming DNA was contaminated in other cases. I mean, this case has been very suspicious from the beginning. So yeah, a frame job is always on the table, but we have no clue what was found during that search. When they served that search warrant, they were digging holes, they were bringing out boxes and evidence bags. I mean, who knows what they found? They could have found the trophies, they could have found photos, they could have found a weapon, they could have found electronic devices connected to Anthony Shots. Who knows? Hey, Bossy, the only thing that I could say about the captain's video is the message referencing my dad ended in the same number of RA's age. TK and RA surely are associated. Hey, Bonnie, the mustache is significant on guy walking. RA wasn't so much in older pics. Hi, Sleuth. Good to see you. Good evening, Nicole. Hey, Lynn. Yeah, and he could have been lying about the Carhartt. You know, maybe he was just thinking of a blue jacket. You know, he's like, I know people seen me in a blue jacket, but I don't want to say windbreaker because I was actually wearing a windbreaker that day. Half truths. Oh, yeah, that's the hitchhiker. I think he's been identified, and most are assuming he's cleared. I'm not sure. I haven't seen real verification on that story. Just a lot of dots connected and people saying, oh, that's good enough for me. That's true, Anna. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay if the state needs to pay for him to do his own stuff so that we can get justice, by all means. But once again, I'm not a resident of Indiana or Carroll County. It's up to those voters. The people who are handling the case are the people that were voted in and hired and to represent them. More than one bullet. Was a bullet a signature? All right. So let's finish up this article here, and then we'll get over to the ballistic side of all of this. Since we know exactly what we're talking about, right, guys? We're experts at nothing. Okay, so the public funds would go toward paying for expert witnesses, transcript fees, and investigator costs, his attorneys wrote. The attorneys asked that a hearing on the request be held in private before Judge Francis Gall. And I'll show you that on the My Case as well. I think that was done yesterday. To explain their need for funds, they would need to reveal their defense strategy to the court. A public hearing could jeopardize their ability to mount an effective defense because they would have to disclose their theory in public, they wrote. The filing doesn't say how much funding Allen's lawyers are requesting for his defense. They're also asking any filings related to their funding request to remain under seal. The next hearing case is scheduled for January 13th, so it's no longer a pretrial. I think it's going to be a hearing. A special judge from Allen County appointed to oversee the high profile proceedings, referring to Gall, Judge Gall, will hear arguments on a gag order and a motion from Allen's attorney for a change of venue. Until that hearing takes place, Gall has instituted a gag order barring Allen, his attorneys, prosecutors, law enforcement, court staff, and family members from making extra judicial statements by means of public communication regarding the case. See, the part that I don't understand here, why would they try to keep it quiet? Sorry about that. I gotta sneeze again. Hold on. Ooh, that was a good one. Okay, so they want it to be held in private. Well, I guess everything that the prosecution's been doing has been private, right? Up until this point, um, I don't think they have to grant. What is it? Discovery is what they call it, I believe. I don't know if that's all taking place. Where they exchange information and have to show the other side what they have as far as a case and the direction they plan to go with it, so that they can counter it. So, I mean, whatever they need to do to protect justice and to make sure that there's no issues with the proceedings and we can get, and if there are others involved, get them captured, get him talking, get him telling what he knows. Ann Vroom says it's sort of inequitable how a high profile accused gets a top drawer legal representation. Just keep in mind that was completely random the way they picked those attorneys at disproportionate public expense, while the vast majority of defendants get basically nothing. Yeah, I seen that, Anna. 700,000 is what they're expecting for a death penalty case. That's a lot of money. Pappy loves JC says case is paper thin. So you think that might be the best evidence they have? This guy sat there for 5 years in plain sight, and now they have all this evidence to convict. Hell no, they botched this case. So I pulled the My Case information just before the show. Let's take a look. So the motion filed for leave to proceed ex parte. So ex parte is them saying, we don't want the prosecution to be there. We're asking for permission. The questions that we have and the requests that we're making are between the court and the defense alone, and should be kept private, is what that ex parte is asking. Or if the others can't make it, they're saying, hey, for whatever reason, we have a scheduling conflict. The defense is saying, regardless of what's going on with them, we need this to be done. And so we see here the hearing. That was a pretrial is now a hearing. Or the pretrial conference is now a hearing. All right, we're at the halfway mark. So we're going to spend the next half talking about the ballistics and the unspent bullet that was found at the scene. I'm going to play 2 media clips. Both of them are going to talk with the same expert, Guy Relford. So Guy, if you're out there, hit me back, please. I would like to talk with you.
Case against Richard Allen in the Delphi murders. Police believe an unfired bullet at the crime scene links Allen to the 2017 deaths. But how reliable is that type of evidence? iTeammate's Cody Fisher went to a gun expert to find out.
The gun expert I'm speaking with tells me it is possible to link an unspent round to a specific gun, but it's also something that can be challenged in court. This is a .40 caliber Sig Sauer Model P226. According to the prosecution, it's the same model of gun Richard Allen has, linking him to an unspent round found between the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German in 2017. This gun was loaded with fake rounds to show what it takes to eject an unspent round.
You have the extractor of a gun, which is just a little claw that sits inside the slide of a semi-automatic firearm.
Guy Relford is a gun range instructor and a defense attorney who handles gun cases exclusively. He says there are a few reasons why an unspent round might be ejected.
It could be a malfunction, it could be to induce fear in someone.
A gun makes an imprint on the round when it's ejected, whether it's spent or unspent.
When that little metal claw made contact with this metal shell casing, part of the cartridge, it left a mark.
According to Relford, each gun leaves its own unique signature on a casing when it's ejected.
It's been accepted in courts that with the right level of magnification and the right analysis, it can be as conclusive as fingerprints.
Just because the probable cause affidavit says the unspent round belonged to Allen's gun doesn't mean it is. Even the police affidavit calls the bullet identification subjective in nature. Relford says that could come down to expert witness testimony about how the round was analyzed and the level of magnification used to look at it.
You could very easily have defense experts say it's not as reliable and it's not as conclusive. And shouldn't be the basis for a jury finding beyond a reasonable doubt that someone committed a crime.
Relford tells me that if Richard Allen's attorneys can prove scientifically that the unspent round did not come from Allen's gun, it would completely change where this case could go. Reporting in Indianapolis, Cody Fisher, Wish TV, iTeam8.
Focus in the Delphi investigation is a single unspent bullet found near the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German in 2017. That detail revealed yesterday when a judge ruled to release a redacted version of case documents. WRTV's Rachel Wilkerson shows us what that single bullet could mean to this case.
According to the unsealed probable cause affidavit in the Delphi double murder case, an unspent .40 caliber bullet was found in between the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German. Unspent means it was never fired. That single bullet, investigators say, links Richard Allen to the crimes. An Indiana State Police laboratory analysis on Allen's gun reveals the unfired bullet was at one point loaded in the chamber and had extraction marks on it. Indianapolis gun expert and defense attorney Guy Relford explains how that happens.
When the slide comes back like this, a round is extracted from the chamber with what's called an extractor, which is like a little claw that actually hooks on to this protruding rear edge of the cartridge, pulls it out, and then the ejector sort of kicks it out of the ejection port. So that claw, that extractor that grabs onto that little edge on the back of the cartridge can leave a little mark on the shell casing, even on an unspent round, through the process of extracting that unspent round out of the gun.
Testimony of a muddy and bloody man matching Allen's description. Audio and videos are also being used as evidence. Allen has pleaded not guilty to the murders of the girls. Records show he admits to visiting the Mo9 High Trail, but doesn't have an explanation for the bullet.
So it could be a malfunction of the gun. It could be a misfire or other malfunction of the ammunition. It could be someone doing it intentionally and to induce fear, or some factors that we haven't thought of yet.
Former FBI agent Doug Coons weighs in.
The bullet puts him there. He admitted that it was his gun. He's had it since 2001.
The cause of the deaths haven't been released to the public.
It's not saying that they were shot by, the same kind of bullet that was matched to the same kind of.
Questions in the highly publicized case remain.
That the prosecution is going to have to deal with about why would that be on the ground at a crime scene between two bodies. And I think that's where a lot of the defense case is going to go, is trying to poke holes in that, saying that doesn't necessarily mean that this defendant committed these crimes.
Relford says the scientific evidence in the case is crucial, but can also be disputed.
It can be very much a battle of experts, and one expert can say, yes, absolutely, that round came out of that gun, and another expert can come in and say, no, you can't conclude that to what we call a reasonable degree of scientific certainty.
Working for you, Rachel Wilkerson, WRTV.
Police are hoping those 3 words will trigger the trip needed to find whoever murdered Abby Williams and Libby German. And tips have been flooding in over the last 24 hours.
In fact, those calls will now be handled by the FBI in Washington, D.C. They'll be listening for anything that could lead them to the killer. We've got David McAnally live for us in Delphi tonight at 5:30 with how else the investigation is changing over the last 24 hours. David?
Scott, we're seeing bigger tips. We're seeing more tips coming in, bigger reward fund in place, and also a trumpet call for prayer. Brad Heath brought all his breath to this bridge, sounding a sacred horn for prayer and healing in Delphi, while downtown at police headquarters, first images of the special call center where operators field tips around the clock. Almost 4,000 phone and emails so far, some generated by the suspect's photo released last week. But half the tips came in just the last 24 hours, since police released the Down the Hill audio. Audio of the suspect, police say, recorded by victim Libby German on her cell phone. Last night, folks from Delphi and around the area met in song and prayer and unity at the courthouse to remember Libby and her friend Abby Williams.
Gonna watch one more quick video, guys, and I got to get out of here. Sorry about that.
A bank, local businesses, the FBI, and more. State police say the reward is now $50,000. And nationwide, the FBI has posted messages about the case on 6,000 electronic billboards in 46 states. And tonight on the bridge across 25, Brad Heath blows the sacred shofar.
Specific directions from the Lord to come and pray over this bridge today. Well, the Bible says in Nehemiah, when
got about 10 more minutes, Randy. We'll hang out.
Begins to fight for his people, and the people of Delphi need the Lord to fight for us in this time, this trying time.
Tonight on the Night Beat, we talk more with Brad about something else that drew him out to that bridge, something that happened to him on the day that those girls disappeared. Also, we just talked to Tony Slocum with Indiana State Police, Public Information Officer, asked him why move the call center to Washington. Basically, it boils down to that kind of work is done all the time at that center, and while it was done very well and very smoothly here, they are set up to handle those kinds of things. But if you're calling in, you'll use the same number, same contacts, all of that, and you'll be dealt with in the same way. There might be a little bit of interactive phone. You might have to push a button or so to leave. Because he was working near the trail the day the girls died.
And had no idea I was not that far from it, so it's bothered me. Well, there's some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation.
things you witnessed?
Yes. You feel funny when you think that if I would have paid more attention to this or that, it has to be resolved. This is evil.
We ran into two other people who came to that bridge to pray. One of them, a man who drove 99 miles to get.
All right, guys. I do have to cut the live stream short. I did present the information that I wanted to. So if you want to continue this in the replay crew in the comments section, I'll check them throughout the day. You can leave information, corrections, links, whatever you want, anything pertaining to today's subject matter. And I will catch you next time, guys. We're gonna close her out.